one. Just so you guys know, the way these are set up, the way I would have solved this is go ahead and put a variable here. Because that's going to help you in setting it up to be able to solve. Put your chair down. This means I now circle my variable, draw my line. What's the opposite of adding 5 and 500ths? Subtracting. So I'm going to subtract 5 and 500ths from both sides of my equation. Those cancel out, it equals 0, so I have x left on this side. Positive minus another positive, that's just subtracting. My decimals are already lined up, so I just line up 0, 2, 13, I need to borrow, make that 12, so that becomes a 7. 13 minus 7, no, it's not, it's 8. I don't know what I'm thinking there. 13 minus 5 is 8. Okay? So, 8 and 2/10. Did they give me 8 and 2/10 as one of the answers?
No.
No. So you needed to be able to simplify and make them into the same format. When I simplified, 41/5 was my answer. Now, for those of you that had 8 and 2/10, those are the ones I gave you full credit. If you had 41/5, you should have switched that to 8 and 1/5. You should have simplified. So if all you had was 41/5 as your answer, that one actually really wasn't right because you should have simplified. This is one of those few exceptions I would take in improper fraction as your right answer because that was the one they gave you. Okay? Next problem. Same thing, I would have put an X here in the blank spot so I know what I'm solving for. The opposite of adding 11 4/5 is subtracting 11 4/5. So I need to do that on both sides of my equation. Those are going to cancel out, so I have X left here. What is my key when I'm doing fractions?
We make the denominator the same.
Good, common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 to make that 8/10. I'm now subtracting. Can I do 3 minus 8? No, so I need to borrow. Remember, when I borrow on a fraction, all I'm doing is adding the numerator and denominator to get my new numerator. So that's going to be a 13. So 13 minus 8 gives me a 5. Can't do 0 minus 1, so I need to borrow. That gives me a 9 and 2, 29 and 5/10. However, they, again, gave it to me as a decimal, so I needed to transform that and say x equals 29 and 5/10. Technically, you should have simplified this to make it 1/2, so your answer here should have been 29 and 1/2, which is the same as 29 and 5/10. Yes, Danny?
I'll just say something.
Unfortunately, too often.
No, put it up. Seriously. The last part.
About that problem?
Yeah.
What?
It's not about
What?
Dana. So, basically, it's so easy to get when you just check your work.
I'm sorry?
It's so easy to get when you just check your work.
It's so easy to what then?
It's so easy to get it.
Just check your work. Because you just take 29 and 5/10, or 29.5, plus 11 and 4/5, which equals 11 and 8/10. Add it together. I'm pretty sure you get 41 and 3/10.
I would hope so, otherwise it wouldn't be right.
Exactly.
Wait, Mr. Moore, are you going to be checking our answers?
You're checking your answers, I'm taking your word for it. But I did check them as I came around. So I already know who had the right answers and who didn't.
So do we have the right answers?
You got them on your paper, you should know.
Yeah, I got the right answers. Good.
Okay, again, here's my variables. So, I'm going, what's the opposite of subtracting 2.5? Adding 2.5. So I'm going to add 2.5 to both sides. Those go away. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I now have opposite signs. That means I do what? They battle. They're going to fight. So I'm going to subtract, meaning I need to have a common denominator. So multiply that one by 2 gives me 2/4. Because my whole number is the same, I need the bigger numerator on top, which fortunately I already have. So 3 minus 2 gives me 1/4. My bigger guy is negative. So my answer is negative 1/4. Questions on any of those three? Okay, so we're doing a competition today. We'll go ahead and take our scores. Okay, on this one, reading your instructions is really important. You're going to solve each problem below. Use the number in the box from the first problem represent the missing number in the next problem. Then use the solution from the second problem for the missing number in the last problem. So these all build on each other, which is why several of you had some major issues on this. Our first one, we have a decimal and a fraction. That gives you one of two options. I can turn them both to decimals or both to fractions. In this case, Mr. Moore personally would say, oh, they gave me my answer in a decimal format. So which one do you think is probably better? Decimal. Which is not hard because they gave me 1/10. So I can rewrite this as 40 8/10 minus 14 1/10. When I'm subtracting decimals, I just need to line up my decimals. So minus 14 1/10 gives me 7/10. I need to borrow. Gives me 6, so 26 7/10. Meaning that 6 now goes in the box on the next one. Okay? So we have the same issue here. I've got a fraction and a decimal. So again, I personally would look at my decimal and my answer, say, oh, they did it as a decimal. So I just make this into a decimal piece. 26 1/2. Everybody should know what that is in a decimal, yes?
No.
6 point.
I don't know.
26
And 5/10.
and 5/10 minus 19 6/10. So now I'm just subtracting 19 6/10. I need to borrow, gives me 9, bring my decimal down. Need to borrow again, gives me 6 9/10. So I now know that the last one has a 9 7/10 minus 12 2/5. Now I have two mixed numbers. What is my option on this? Mixed numbers. How do I subtract mixed numbers?
Same.
Common denominator. So you have a couple options. I can turn the whole thing into an improper fraction and then get a common denominator. That's a lot of math work, a lot of opportunities for math errors that you don't really need. Or I can just say this one, I can multiply by 2 to make that 4/10. And then I'm subtracting 9 7/10 minus 12 4/10. I now have a common denominator. I now look at it. Do I have the same sign? Okay, here's where I'm taking a little side step. For my more advanced students that are getting this whole concept really quickly, the subtraction is really just an integer. I could say I have a positive 9 7/10 and a negative 12 4/10. That means they're opposite signs. So what am I going to do? They're going to fight, meaning I'm going to subtract. If you do not see that yet, we don't actually subtract numbers. I add the inverse. So you could rewrite this as 9 7/10 plus a negative 12 4/10, in which case you now see I'm adding opposite integers. They're going to fight. Here's where a lot of you made a major error. Mostly those of you who didn't show your work and made a major math error here.
Yeah, not us.
Yeah, it was you, Danny. Okay?
I didn't even say that.
Yeah,
Look.
that was me. My bad.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was you, Shane.
Yeah, it
What
was.
do I do to you, Mr. Clark?
I'm proud of myself.
So, quiet. When I'm fighting, who goes on top?
The biggest.
The biggest absolute value. In other words, 12 4/10 minus 9 7/10. So again, you can turn these both into improper fractions, or you can just treat this like any decimal problem. Can I do 4 minus 7? Big hint, that's not 3. I had several groups that put 3 there.
I'm gonna make it 14.
I don't have a commutative property of subtraction. I can't just reverse that order. I must do 4 minus 7. If I can't do that, I need to borrow. So I'm going to borrow from the 2. Remember, when I borrow, I'm just adding those 2 together because I've already got my common denominator. So my new numerator is now 14. 14 minus 7 gives me 7/10. 11 minus 9 gives me 2. My bigger number, the big guy, is negative. There's my answer, negative 2 7/10. Okay?
Wait, Mr. Moore.
Yes,
If
Danny.
we fix it, do we still get the point?
No?
That's his work, not your work.
Yes,
But we
okay.
can pretty sure.
I'm sorry? It was the work, as I recall.
Wait, fix it before.
Hold on. Okay, so let's add up, tally up our points. Hope you guys finished the rest. So let's go through this. That measures the temperature of a solution. It's negative 71 and 8/10. It's then heated up by 50 degrees. What is the temperature of the solution after heating? So it's a negative 71 and 8/10 plus 50. That means they're opposite. That means they're fighting. So I'm going to take 71 and 8/10, subtract 50. Gives me 8/10, 1, 21, and the big guy wins, so negative 21 and 8/10. So number 1 is Z. So 1 gets the Z. Our next one, he did overdrafts on his account by $25.60 and then is charged a $10.35 fee by the bank. What is the change in his bank account? Overdraft means that it went negative. So that's a negative $25.60. And then the bank added a fee of $10.35, so that's plus a negative $10.35. That means my integers are both negative. I'm adding them together, so that means I add, and it's going to stay negative. They like each other. So I add them up. Because it's money, we have 2 decimal places. We should line up our decimal places. 9, 5, 35. Because they're both negative, my answer is a negative. So negative 35.95 gives me the P for number 2. Going into the next one, Rob pays for 3 muffins with a $10 bill. The cashier gives him $2.86 and change. What was the cost of 1 muffin? So, first thing I have to do is figure out how much it cost. So I take the $10 bill and I subtract the $2.86 he got and change to see what it costs. So 10 minus 286. I'm going to borrow all the way across. Gives me $7.14. That's my total cost. I then need to divide that by 3. So it's going to go twice. Gives me a 1. My decimal goes down. Gives me a 3. Subtract 9 gives me a 2. Bring down the 4. Gives me an 8. Subtract 24. So the cost for each one was $2.38. So that gives me the E for number 3, which is all the way at the end. The next one calls for 3¼ cups of flour. He uses 1½ of white, and the rest will be wheat. How many cups of wheat did he use? So this is a straight up subtraction. 3 1/4 minus 1 1/2. Key here, I need a common denominator. Makes that 2/4. So, can I do 1 minus 2? No, so I need to borrow. Remember, when I borrow, I'm just adding those two together. So that makes my new numerator a 5. 5 minus 2 gives me a 3. 2 minus 1 is a 1. My bigger guy is positive, so it's a positive 1 3/4. So the R goes in the 4 spot. Stop the tapping. And our last one, she attends lessons twice a week for 1½ hours each. She practices at home 2 3/4 hours each week. How many hours does she do on her piano each week? There's our question. So twice of 1½ gives me 3 hours plus the 2 3/4. This is one of the few that I would say if you didn't show work, I can see it because I'm just adding the whole number to that. Makes it 5 3/4. So my last answer was I. So when I read it all out, oops, that was a P. Came out as pride.
Who won?
Oh, hold on, we got to.
Yeah, but wait.
We'll have to finish this next class, guys. Okay, the key on this last one, I would have started with the 3 values. Make sure you understand what they are. And then you're just writing what it says. So, C minus P, that's 5 minus 3, which equals 2. C plus B, that becomes 5 plus 3. So that equals 8. A plus B, that's a negative 3 plus 3. And now if opposite integers added together, opposites always equal 0. A minus B, so negative 3 minus 3. So most of you are probably still going to want to rewrite that. Negative 3 plus a negative 3. So you know that that one equals negative 6. A minus C, so negative 3 minus 5. Again, I'm going to change because I don't really try to add integers, subtract integers, add them. So they're now both negative, so that equals a negative 8. This is probably one of the trickiest ones, but it's an opposite of a negative 3. The opposite of a negative is a positive. Then we have 5 minus a negative 3. This is the one that always gets tricky. So this is the one I really do recommend you change it. So it's 5 plus 3, add the opposite, which equals 8. And then our last one, negative 3 plus 5, they're opposite sign. These are now fighting, so they're going to subtract. 5 minus 3 gives me a 2. The bigger guy is positive. And there's your answer. Good luck on the homework, guys.